Hello everyone. As promised, I would make a video on to be able to help you on the discussions that are due this week. So let's start with the discussion post on natural law. Uh, I believe that one is due on Thursday night. And so here is the description. I'm pretty much just going to focus on the description because that's the part that tells you exactly what to do. So the question here is, what should a natural law theorist think about the recreational use of marijuana? You have to make cases for and against the legal use of recreational marijuana from the natural law perspective. In this part, you have to be very clear on making sure that you give reasons for both cases, that you clearly give good reasons for both cases. So you have to kind of play the devil's advocate. If you are, I guess, if you believe one side over the other, you do have to play the devil's advocate for the one that you don't agree with. But it's very clear that you have to make sure that you give those cases for and against. You're very clear on those cases for and against. Um, and there are some considerations here. You must consider that human reason is a natural function, and that is part of natural law, and that is it is natural to all animals who are capable of experiencing pleasure to pursue pleasure. That's also part of natural law. You're writing about a social policy concerning recreational marijuana use. This basically means a legal policy. And this part here is important. Whether it is permissible or prudent for a specific individual to do it, that's a separate question. The questions about whether specific people or individuals should do it is a different question, but we're talking here about what the law should allow. That's what we're focusing on, which is basically what social policy means. It is helpful to address the doctrine of double effect, which is covered in the Berner and Rayleigh book, because that gives a pretty clear formula um, when these decisions are made. So that's the DDE doctrine of double effect. Okay, let's go to the second one, which is on Aquinas' natural law theory, second discussion board. And so here, Aquinas has a very specific version of the natural law, and a lot of the specific, well, I guess every individual theologian slash philosopher will have their own version of natural law. So Aquinas has his own, and you're applying Aquinas' views to the poor. Are we doing enough for the poor? Are we doing too much for the poor? Um, and you really should look about what he says about society. There's a section in the reading where he focuses on society. So definitely look at that part in the textbook and apply it to Aquinas, but try to be as comprehensive as possible in answering that part. Um, yeah, and the last part, in fact, gets at exactly what I'm saying. Reconstruct as much of Aquinas' theory as is necessary to answer these questions, and clearly explain what you think about how you apply Aquinas here, or how you should apply Aquinas here, uh, based on his theory. You're basically taking his theory and applying it to what you think he would say about our treatment or society's treatment of the poor. Okay, last one is on Taoism, um, and you're writing about an area of your life where you need to let go. You're going to describe this area of your life um, as detailed as possible, as detailed as you possibly can, and you should give some reasons why you need to let go. So, is there an area in your life, and I'm sure there is. It's true for everybody, pretty much. An area of your life where you may be obsessed too much over something. You preoccupy yourself with it too much, and it doesn't seem to be helpful for you to do that. It doesn't seem to get you anywhere by preoccupying too much and being too obsessed with it. And letting go here means that you would not obsess or preoccupy yourself too much with it. You kind of release your feelings, strong feelings about it in a way, and have a more detached attitude towards that area of your life. Um, and you're going to explain why it would be better to let go. And that is what Wu Wei means. This is really all about Wu Wei. Wu Wei means letting go. So let's see. The next part is tricky. Um, Try to imagine as vividly as you can letting go in this area of your life. Uh, I guess I've already explained that. Try to imagine embracing Wu Wei. Okay, so I have kind of already explained that. Um, Imagine what it would look like for you to let go. So you have to be clear in your descriptions here. One part you're describing that area of your life, and then the other part you're describing what would be the consequences of letting go. What would happen if you did let go, if you didn't obsess too much, which is basically another way of saying that you're applying Wu Wei. You should be as detailed as possible as what Wu Wei means, because it's not just letting go, it's letting go from a particular ancient Chinese philosophy slash religion, and it has its own take on what this means. And so you really need to look at those passages in the text, in your readings, in your assigned readings, where Wu Wei is vividly described with a lot of metaphors. Wu Wei is not something that can be described in a kind of scientific way, kind of a expository narrative kind of way. It is really described in terms of metaphors. And in fact, a lot of the metaphors are metaphors from nature. So you want to have a good understanding of those metaphors, and because they give you a kind of a picture of what Wu Wei means. Again, it's not a kind of scientific objective description of Wu Wei, because this isn't science. Um, but there are a lot of good metaphors that describe what Wu Wei means, and so you really have to have a good understanding of that before you explain how you would apply Wu Wei to that area that you have specified. And then the next part says, imagine what results from letting go. So I kind of briefly touched on this already, but what would happen if you let go? What would happen if you applied Wu Wei in the way that the textbook describes Wu Wei? What would be the consequences of that, of applying Wu Wei? Would they be good? Um, it says here, according to what you have imagined, is this area of your life better now that you have practiced Wu Wei? Would you have made improvements in your life if you did let go and not obsess about something specific? And Taoism aside, does the practice of Wu Wei seem to be the ethically correct option here? Is it at least an ethically permissible option? In terms of ethics here, that term can mean a lot of different things, but one helpful gauge is one rule of thumb in ethics is what you're doing harmful by obsessing? And if you let go, would that cause less harm? Maybe you're causing harm to yourself by obsessing about something specific, or maybe you're causing harm to others in that part that you're not letting go. So if that's the case, would applying Wu Wei either stop that harm or lessen that harm? I think that's a good way to approach it ethically. Uh, or maybe in terms of peace of mind, would you just have more peace of mind, more equanimity, um, if you applied Wu Wei? That's also another way to look at it ethically. Okay, I hope all this helps. I've covered all three of the discussion prompts that are due in week 5. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.